it's been about a month, maybe month and a half since we've done our last mock draft, and I think it's time we start ramping it up a little bit quicker. It's been a little too long, I will say. And we're into the final 3 weeks of the NFL season, regular season, that is. And so this stuff's getting much more important. We got our Heisman winner in Fernando Mendoza. We've got our Bolitnikoff winner and Makai Lemon, all that type of Doak Walker Award winner, Jeremiah Love. But we have a lot of people just winning awards now. We're getting into the playoffs this weekend, and it's going to be an exciting weekend for sure. But it's time to get into some mock drafts. Today we've got Thursday Night Football, so perfect time to do it right before these standings might change again. However, before we get jumped into this one, I do want to mention that there is quite a few of you that are not subscribed to the channel. If you come back to my videos, or this is your first one, and say you enjoy it, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, and so we got a lot of time to do that, but we got a long ways to go. However, let's just jump into this one. I really appreciate your support, however, if you do subscribe to the channel. If you don't subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate your support as well. Just coming in and watching these videos, it means a lot. So anyways, to start off, the New York Giants have the number 1 pick in the draft. And do I think they're gonna keep it? I personally think the Raiders are going to end up having the first pick because I think the Giants will beat the Raiders in Week 17. But for right now, when it comes to everything, I don't think they're going to end up keeping this pick. I think they'll trade back. And I think there's a team right now that absolutely desperately needs a quarterback. We did it in the last mock draft. It's the New York Jets. So the New York Jets are going to have to send two firsts to the Giants to get that number 1 overall pick. And so the New York Jets have a huge quarterback problem. They just signed Justin Fields. He had been a little promising in his last year in Chicago. He had been looked pretty good in Pittsburgh, but he's just been terrified back there. He just doesn't make, I guess you could say, risky plays in the backfield. He doesn't want to throw the ball down the field at all. He doesn't even want to hit the checkdowns. I remember watching the Jets-Patriots game on Thursday night, and there are so many situations where you just hit your best player on the field in Breece Hall, and he just never did it. And so I think the Jets need to figure this out. They do have a lot of other questions, like, do we need another pass catcher? We just traded away Quinnen Williams. We just traded away Sauce Gardner. We've got so many holes on this team, and that's something I've noticed a lot with a lot of these teams this year is there's a good amount of teams that just have a lot of needs. Like, look at the Raiders. Look at the Raiders team needs on here. Quarterback, wide receiver, guard, tackle, defensive interior, linebacker, and corner. That is insane, man. I mean, even the Titans, running back, wide receiver, offensive line, edge, corner. These teams have a lot of needs, and the Jets definitely start off with needing a quarterback, and none other. Who else? Who else are we gonna pick? None other than Heisman Mendoza to be my number 1 overall pick. I actually had the Jets trading up for Heisman Mendoza, Fernando Mendoza, in my first mock draft, and I just Fernando Mendoza is just such a pro-ready guy. I know the stats weren't eye-popping. People like to say, "Oh, well, he might have been one of the least deserving Heisman Award winners because of his stats." He didn't play in the fourth quarter in basically all of his games. There was a couple of games he played in the fourth. That was about it. And so you really can't look at the stats. You look at the leadership. You look at the passing ability. You look at the way he dissects football. He is an absolute computer when it comes to football, and that's what I love out of a quarterback. You don't see very many quarterbacks that smart anymore, like Fernando Mendoza. So I think he's a great number 1 overall pick. Having him and Garrett Wilson would be fun to watch. They've got a good offensive line already there in New York, I'd say. I'd say it's a pretty decent offensive line there in New York. East Rutherford, New Jersey. But you just got to get more pieces, build your defense a little more in this draft. But Mendoza is going to be a great pick at number 1. So, and then at number 2 for the Raiders, gosh, this team could use anything. I like to say that if they were to draft any position other than running back and tight end, their team is improving. Like, honestly, Arvell Reese here to the Las Vegas Raiders at number 2 has been really, really, like, entertaining to me. I've been entertaining it a little bit because the Raiders have such a, not a revolving door, but like they can just throw any of those linebackers they got right now to the side. I mean, maybe a Landon Roberts, if he's there still, right? I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's there. But I mean, like Devin White, Jamal Adams is a linebacker for this team now. Like they could use a guy like Arvell Reese who can rush the quarterback and he can play off ball. But that quarterback position is absolutely horrendous. I would love to see them give Cam Miller a couple starts at the end of the year, but they're not going to. I'm going to go with Dante Moore. Like I said in my last one, Dante Moore's got a great deep ball, in my opinion. I compared him to a more accurate, less fast Jalen Milroe. And I think or more accurate, less fast. Yeah, I did make sure I said that right. I like Dante Moore. To be honest, I don't think either of these quarterbacks, Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore, are going to be your franchise-altering quarterbacks. Maybe, if anything, they're going to be franchise-altering in the bad way. But I'd love to see both of them be franchise guys. I think they're not the highest ceilings. Dante Moore, I think, maybe could have the potential to have a little bit higher of a ceiling than Mendoza because he almost plays a little similar to what the modern NFL quarterback is. The mobility is a little bit better on Dante. But the Raiders have so many problems. And, I mean, quarterback, I think, should be your number one thing. You're paying a 35-year-old like $30 million a year. You're going to have to get rid of him soon. You need to get a new replacement. Yes, you could wait for next year, go Arvell Reese this year, or go trade back. I just think getting a quarterback now, and especially in Dante Moore, as I say here, has great arm strength and arm speed. I think you got to pick him. You got to pick him. The Raiders need quarterback help. They need line help, too. They need to focus that a lot in this draft. I don't do this with most teams, but an Austin Sierreveld, in the second round would be a great pick, in my opinion. A Blake Miller could be a good pick later in the draft. Maybe you really don't need a center. Here's my thing: is you don't need a center. Jackson Powers Johnson was the best center in college football, and you're trying to play him at guard. Just put him at center. Anyways. With the Tennessee Titans, we're going to see the first non-quarterback off the board, and it's between Arvell Reese and Ruben Bain. I'm going Arvell Reese. Now, I think Arvell Reese is going to be my favorite prospect in this draft. He is currently. I'm still looking at a bunch of prospects. Still my favorite. Still my number one. Him number one. Downs number 2. Just like how this website PFF had it flipped. They have Downs 1 and Reese 2. I've got Downs at 2 and then Reese at 1. Ruben Bain at 3. I'm very similar to how this is actually, but Arvell Reese is a stud, man. That dude is insane. I mean, I got on here that he's just insanely athletic, and you watch it. The fact that he's able to excel so well at both pass rush and off-ball linebacker, a team like the Titans that have a lot of needs, that is a great pick for him. And he's a guy, it's almost like the Falcons when they drafted Bijan at the 8th overall selection. They just got Tyler Algier. Algier had a good rookie season, but Bijan's Bijan. That's what you do with Arvell Reese, It's Arvell Reese. He's looked amazing at Ohio State. Tennessee needs somebody, and they need a playmaker on defense other than Jeffrey Simmons. There's your playmaker. So, now number 4, to the Browns. I want the best out of Shedeur Sanders. I want him to really succeed in the NFL. And with the way the quarterback class looks, I don't think the Browns will really draft a QB in the first round. I mean, Ty Simpson maybe finds his way into the first round, but towards the end, he really fell off a cliff. I mean, I'm looking here. This is from my first one. 21-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He finished the season with a 25-5 touchdown to interception ratio. So he really did struggle at the end of the year. Kind of tanking his draft stock, but That makes me go to, then let's build around Shitter. Let's help protect him. Let's help make him the best player we can. So we're going to go Jordan Tyson. And so Jordan Tyson he's insane, honestly. I remember watching him against TCU. He torched us on a deep ball. Really just made me angry, honestly. The health is a little bit of a concern, but his first down reliability is something I love to see out of Jordan Tyson. And with Jerry Jeudy just really not playing well at all in Cleveland, you need a wide receiver for that QB. You need a playmaker, and Jordan Tyson will do just that. So now number 5 to the New York Giants. New York Giants, I think I had them taking Caleb Downs. Or no, I had the Dolphins taking Caleb Downs. I don't know, but I've had them taking Caleb Downs in the past. I don't have them taking Caleb Downs now. I like their safeties in Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin. I do think Downs is definitely would be an upgrade. However, I think Wandale is a slot only guy. You can't play him anywhere else in the slot. You've got Malik Neighbors. I personally would love to see this, and it's going to be Carnell Tate. I think Carnell Tate in New York, getting yourself another really, really good wide receiver, that is an unbelievable wide receiver trio. Wan'Dale Robinson's really shown himself this year with the absence of Malik Neighbors, what he can do in the slot. And for all my fantasy players out there, I'm pretty sure he's a wide receiver 9. Wan'Dale Robinson is the wide receiver 9 in fantasy right now. That's insane. That's just insane. It's been a wild year for fantasy, but getting a guy like Carnell Tate to add to that firepower on that New York offense, you got Jackson Dart, you got Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatabo, Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson. Now you got Carnell Tate, and you got Tyrone Tracy Jr. I mean, that's just a star-studded offense that's going to develop into a very good offense. I like the Giants' defense already. I like the pieces they've got. They need to improve their offensive line. I just don't think there's with a guy like Carnell Tate on the board, I don't think there's a point in not drafting him. And so Carnell Tate's going to go to the Giants here at 5. Now at number 6 to the Cardinals, Ty Simpson, if he was still doing good, I could see the Cardinals picking here. Jacoby Brissett's been the biggest surprise this year, to say the least. Looking at it, his least amount of passing attempts this year is 31, which is hilarious to look at. 31, 36, and then every other game's 40 or more. So they love to pass the football. I honestly, as crazy it sounds, Jacoby Brissett might be the quarterback there next year. And for all those fantasy players out there, they would love it because Michael Wilson and Trey McBride look amazing in fantasy. I mean, McBride's like the wide receiver 4 if he was a wide receiver, and he's a tight end. He's a tight end. Like, that's unbelievable. But in my opinion, as much as I think it might be a little reach, they might have to trade down, or not have to, but they might will. I'm going to go Spencer Fano. Spencer Fano did just declare. I like Spencer Fano. He's one of my favorite tackles I've watched coming into a draft cycle. Their offensive line needs something to be across from Paris Johnson Jr. Paris Johnson Jr. is a great tackle in this league. I thought he was going to be around where he was drafted. I didn't think the Cardinals would trade back to 12 and then up to 6 with the Lions to pick him, but I thought he could have maybe gone around 10. I thought that the Bears were going to get him, and they would have been really happy, but Paris Johnson Jr., great player. Anyways, Spencer Fano, as I have on here. Let's find Spencer Fano. He is what I like to say a plug-and-play left tackle. I said this in the last one. He was my first tackle off the board in my last mock draft. And I had him at 13, which is crazy. Now he's up at 6, which I don't think he's honestly gone up. It's just team need and best player in that need. So Fano, plug-and-play left tackle. He's going to be a day one starter in this league. You put him at either tackle spot. Paris Johnson Jr. and him is going to be a great duo. You need to keep your quarterback safe in Arizona. So that's going to be the biggest need and their pick. So now at number 7 to the Saints, my Saints. Where do I begin with my New Orleans Saints? I don't even know. There's so many things I think I would love for us to do here. Caleb Downs this year, and I just keep telling myself, I don't care how bad our edge pass rushing team is. Caleb Downs needs to be a Saint. Ruben Bain Jr. is an absolute monster, right? And so these next two picks I think are going to be interchangeable. The Commanders and the Saints are going to pick one or the other guy. Whoever the Saints pick, the Commanders is picking the other one. And so my thing with on here, Caleb Downs, he's smart, he's versatile. He's going to be a cornerstone guy. Ruben Bain could also be a cornerstone guy. He's unreal in the pass rush. He has some great moves. He's great with his hands, everything like that. Now, you look at the Saints. Their pass rush has been improving. Obviously, Cam Jordan likely going to retire within the next year or two. Carl Granderson's slowly getting up in age. Chase Young's looking pretty decent. You know, you need to get some depth, of course, and some youth into this team. But I just can't bring myself to pass up on Caleb Downs. And the Saints have a young secondary. Safety is, in my opinion, the spot that you can really get a little interesting with here in New Orleans. So I'm going to go Caleb Downs here to the Saints. I think, obviously, Ruben Bain Jr. is probably the more team need heavy pick. I just think Caleb Downs is an absolute fantastic player, and I have fallen in love with Caleb Downs as a player and a prospect. So I just want to see him in my favorite team's black and gold. I want to see Caleb Downs in the black and gold. I think he is a game changer on defense. He is an absolute freak of nature, right? And so I got to do it. As much as I hate to, maybe be a homer or be biased and give my team the number one prospect in the draft or the number two prospect in the draft, I just think Caleb Downs won't go in the top 6. And if the Saints are at 7 and need a guy like him, he's going to be a Saint. And so Caleb Downs to New Orleans. Now at number 8 to Washington. Originally I had them going Caleb Downs, but then now I have Caleb Downs going to New Orleans. And originally by 2 days ago when I made this rough draft of the mock. We're going to go Ruben Bain Jr. Obviously, I said it's going to be one or the other. He's an absolute monster. The Commanders need some sort of edge rush. They just don't have a presence off the edge, and they don't have a presence in the pass rush most of the time. Dante Fowler Jr. was like their best edge rusher last year, and he's gone. I really don't think there's any other pick. Maybe if you want to pick a different edge rusher like David Bailey or Keldrick Falk, go ahead. But that's not what I think is going to see happening. I think it's going to be Ruben Bain Jr. If Ruben Bain Jr. falls out of the top 8, even the top 10, I would actually be so surprised. There could be a chance maybe he goes 6 to the Cardinals. The Cardinals could use an edge rusher. But I've got him going number 8 here to Washington. Now, number 9 here to the Bengals, Cincinnati. You need so many things. This thing doesn't say enough. Obviously, offensive line is a big need, but defensive interior is a bigger need. And with the spot that you're in, you can get a really good one. And Peter Woods, who go out there and watch Peter Woods. Clemson, maybe not the best season this year. TJ Parker, his edge rusher counterpart, his partner, I guess you could say partner in crime, really hasn't been what you thought he would be. But Peter Woods has been pretty good. I think he's going to be that game-changing guy. Still a little bit down of a year compared to previous years. You look at the trends, he definitely has fallen a little bit, but I still think he is an excellent defensive interior pick here for Cincinnati, who desperately needs something. I think their best interior guys like B.J. Hill. I think you need something. Peter Woods is a great pick. Even though Shamar Stewart hasn't been performing, then you need something. And so you get this guy. I could see them going Keldrick Falk, but Peter Woods to the Bengals. Now at number 10 to the Rams. I believe I did this last time. We're going to stick with it. It's going to be Mansour Delane from LSU. The transfer from Virginia Tech, now at LSU. He is a great instinctual player. He plays a lot with instincts, and I love seeing that out of players. He's very fluid. He matches up well with receivers, and he can play, he can play that outside spot. He can play the slot, And now another team I could see trading up. Let me get to this. The Rams have the 10th pick and the 31st pick in the draft right now. I could very well see them trading those two to the Giants and trading for Mendoza. I just think they're not going to be too worried about it because I think there's some other quarterbacks they could pick where it'd be like, hey, we could develop this guy under Matthew Stafford for a year, or if Stafford leaves this year, we could develop him under Sean McVay, and he's going to be surrounded by great weapons. So it's really not that much of an urgency. But Mansoor Delane, cornerback, the cornerback position is a big need in Los Angeles. They've got such a great team. I think that just makes their team even better and even more well-rounded. Spencer Fano's here at 10. I could also see them maybe taking him as, you're going to need a Havenstein replacement. I think that's right. Yeah, Havenstein. I almost said Andrew Whitworth. I knew that wasn't true. And so tackle could be a need. But I'm going to go with Delane. I think the playmaker makes more sense here at 10. Now at pick number 11, the Chiefs. Man, their pick's going to keep getting better and better this year. There's a chance they go 6-11. There's a chance they could go 6-11 and get a top 10 pick. That is scary to think about. Is the dynasty over? Everybody is asking that. I don't think so. Kelsey's gone, most likely. Mahomes is he's gonna come back eventually, and with them getting a good pick this year is what's the scary part. Is they've still got really good pieces. You can go out and get an excellent player like a David Bailey, a Jeremiah Love, a Kenyon Sadiq, even if they trade back or something, and that just retools this team. That just absolutely retools this team. And exactly what I think is going to happen is they're going to go end up getting one of the best players in this draft in Jeremiah Love. I think the time is up for Isaiah Pacheco. There really hasn't been the exponential growth you've seen out of him. It's honestly kind of just been downhill. It was year one, and it kind of just gone slightly downhill since his rookie season. I'd say maybe his second season was his best season, but I don't even think that, actually. Never mind. I can't even agree with that. But Kareem Hunt's just going to keep getting older. He's a great goal line back, but you need some sort of guy that can make those home run plays. And especially with if you're missing Mahomes for a little bit, you need to make your offense. If your offense is going to have to be maybe a little bit one-dimensional without Mahomes, you need to have somebody that can help this offense be one-dimensional. And Jeremiah Love is going to do exactly that. And when Mahomes comes back, that makes this offense so versatile. And it just makes them flexible in ways. You can run the ball on maybe third and short. You can run the ball on second and long. It makes that team scary. It really does. It makes them very unpredictable, and it adds a little bit of a fear factor to the league if you get Jeremiah Love in a Chiefs jersey. So, number 12 here to the Vikings. We're going to go with another corner, and it's going to be Jermod McCoy. Now, Jermod McCoy, right, I've been talking to myself, is he going to be ahead of Delane, excuse me. Is he going to be ahead of Mansoor Delane? Is he going to be behind Mansoor Delane? Right now, I have him behind him still. I think there's a chance he could be ahead. And what I have on here, we said in the last time, he's a very good zone corner. He has a very good nose for the ball. He's a playmaker. He reminds me of Terrion Arnold in a way, in the way that he's a playmaker, not the way that he holds a lot. He makes plays on the football, and that's what I saw out of Terrion Arnold. And maybe the adjustment to being more of a man guy could be a little bit of an issue, but with the team in Minnesota that Brian Flores loves to blitz, I feel you see this team blitz and drop into zone coverage a lot. Jermod McCoy is a perfect spot, a perfect candidate for a corner in Minnesota, and that's been a big issue in Minnesota is the corner spot. I think if Caleb Downs drops to 12 here too, I think they don't even hesitate. They pick him. But Jermod McCoy, great zone corner, fits in a scheme where they love to blitz on zone coverage, and so the Vikings get themselves a pretty good corner. Excuse me. Pick 13 here to the Dolphins. Tua's benched. It is Quinn Ewers' time in Miami, and I don't think Tyreek's going to be there anymore. Tyreek Hill, his time is up in Miami. Jalen Waddle is now your wide receiver one. That adds a wide receiver problem. Jermod McCoy, if he was here, would have been my pick. They need corner. However, he's not here. We're going to go Makai Lemon, the Biletnikoff Award winner. Makai Lemon is the best slot guy in college football. He has the potential to come in and be like a JSN guy who's already one of the best slot guys in his rookie season. Now, I think JSN's a better prospect, honestly. Makai Lemon's a really, really good player, but JSN was probably, in my opinion, my favorite slot prospect I've seen. Him and CeeDee Lamb, but Makai Lemon can really just find soft spots. I talked about this a lot in the last mock draft. Makai Lemon's transitions in his routes, his ability to find the windows is excellent, and putting him in the slot with another speedster like Jalen Waddle would be dangerous for whoever the Dolphins QB is going to be next year. So now 14 here to the Cowboys. Cowboys need edge rusher. I don't care. Sonny Styles could be a pick here, a really good pick here too. I don't think that's where he goes. I don't think Sonny Styles will be the pick. If there is a team to pick an off-ball linebacker at 14, it would be the Cowboys, honestly. They just did it with Tyler Booker when it came to guard this last season. So we're going to go David Bailey instead, though. The stats prove how good this guy is. You also watch him play. It shows how good of a pass rusher he is. He's on one of the best defenses in college football. I'm excited to watch him on New Year's and see how he does against, either Oregon or James Madison. JMU, we're on to Texas Tech, they say. Go Dukes this weekend. It would be really funny to see the Dukes win with all that Twitter stuff going on. But David Bailey's an athletic freak at the edge rusher position. He has a great bend. He has a great first step. He burst off the line. And, getting rid of Micah Parsons, you've really seen the lack of edge rusher. They've had some players on their defensive line really show up. It also helps that you have Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. But getting a guy on the outside to play that 9 tech is just going to make that pass rush just so dangerous. So I'm going to go David Bailey here at 14. Now at 15 to the Ravens, I'm going to go Keldrick Falk. I think there's a chance he goes a lot higher than 15. I think the Ravens need somebody on that D-line. Keldrick Falk slots himself right in Baltimore. That is the big problem, I'd say, is quarterbacks against them just feel like they have a lot of time. Keldrick Falk's a little bit of a monster, all right? If I'm not mistaken, he is a little bigger. 285, 6'6". He's gigantic as an edge rusher. And, he's kind of slowly been going up the boards. But here with this situation, I could see him going maybe to Kansas City. I had him going to Kansas City last time, or in my rough mock. But he is a great player. He's strong. He's aggressive. And with that size, can be a force. The Baltimore Ravens need something like that. So that'll be my pick at 15. Now at 16 to the Panthers. The Panthers, they're in such a weird spot right now because they just lost to the Saints. They got swept by the Saints in the regular season. But all they have to do is sweep the Bucs. They have to beat the Bucs twice in 3 weeks. Same with the Bucs. They have to beat the Panthers twice in 3 weeks. Or split the series and win the other game. But there's a chance this Panthers team might be in the playoffs, but they don't play like a playoff team. I mean, they beat the Rams, but they've lost twice to the Saints. It doesn't make any sense. This team's just an interesting one in its entirety. So with my pick here, I've been thinking Cassius Howell. I've been thinking TJ Parker. And I just think TJ Parker just really isn't the guy that we thought he was going to be. So we're going to go Cassius Howell. And so with Cassius Howell, he's a very developmental guy. He's a very developmental athlete. And I think he has the potential to grow into an every down edge rusher. For now, I only see him as a third down kind of guy. You did just draft Nick Scorton from A&M, and he'll be your other edge rusher. But the Panthers need to just figure stuff out in general. Bryce Young just plays good whenever he feels like it seems like. But the defense could really use some bolstering up, and that's what Cassius Howell will do. Now at number 17, at the turn, we'll go with, for the Lions, we'll go Francis Mauigoa. The Lions, Taylor Decker retirement might be coming soon. You need somebody on the other side of Penei Sewell. Mauigoa slots in right there. You need something for that. Your offense is, you've invested so much into your offense. You've got playmakers. Like, I don't know what just happened there. Absolute playmakers, right? And with, Goff throwing the ball to Gibbs, you got Monty, you've got J-Mo, you've got Amon-Ra, you've got Laporta. If your offensive line just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, Goff's not going to have time to operate with that. Gibbs is not going to have time to operate with that. Monty's not going to have time to operate with that. So Francis Mauigoa, a player who is a very strong offensive lineman and a very great frame for an lineman, slotting him in the offensive line would be great for Detroit. However, I do think defense could be the play, but I just think Mauigoa at this spot is a great pick for Detroit. Now at 18 here for the Giants, we're going to address the defense side of the ball now, and then we're going to go with Avion Terrell. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the video that he posted of his practice reps. This dude's got great footwork. He's got great eye skills. He's got great ball skills. Avion Terrell is a smaller corner. He's only about 180, 185 pounds, but he plays like he's 200. He plays like he's 210. He's physical at his size. And when you're that small, you either got to lean into being that small and beat people with speed and whatnot, or you just got to play like a dog. And he plays like a dog, all right? He's not afraid to challenge people. He's not afraid to press people. Deonte Banks hasn't been the corner you've wanted him to be. Paulson Adebo hasn't been the acquisition you wanted him to be. I like Drew Phillips. Just adding another young corner to this team, a guy like Avion Terrell would be a great pick for New York. I mean, going and getting the first pick, having the first pick, and then getting Carnell Tate and Avion Terrell, wonderful job. That'd be a wonderful GM masterclass there. So now we're going to move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 19. I think the spot they need the most is linebacker. Sonny Styles, a great off-ball linebacker. And, he's got great pursuit. He's got a great skill set. And with, an aging Lavonte David, I just think the linebacker spot in Tampa is scarce. And Sonny Styles is a very good linebacker. I think he's going to be the first true off-ball that gets picked. I think Arvell Reese is more of an in-between kind of guy, like a Jalen Walker, how Jalen Walker was listed as a linebacker. He's playing off the edge right now in Atlanta. So Sonny Styles, great player, great pursuit, great range. I've got him going 19 here to Tampa Bay. Now 20 to the Steelers. We're going to make it really simple. Did it last time. Denzel Boston, another physical guy on your team to pair up with DK Metcalf. Quarterback could be a need because Rodgers could retire at the end of this year. I don't think he will. I think he's going to keep on trying to play. Ty Simpson's a possibility here at 20. I don't have them going Ty Simpson, obviously. I just think getting another wide receiver on this team is necessary. Getting another good pass catcher to take away from the attention of DK Metcalf, I guess. And Denzel Boston can do that with his contested catch ability. So, 21 to the Eagles. We're going to go here with TJ Parker. He has fallen down my board quite a bit. I think Philly could use another edge rusher. Edge rushing is you never have too many. Because you can have some guys that are really pass specialists. You can have some guys that are 3-down guys. And that's why I see TJ Parker falling down. He's not performed well. He is good. He's got good moves. However, I think he's going to be great in a 4-3. I don't know if Philly runs a 4-3. I can't quite remember if they do. But he could work in many schemes. I just think he's more of a run-heavy kind of edge rusher, I guess, is how I would view him personally. I don't think he's the biggest guy. Maybe he is, actually. Yeah, he is 260, but big edge rusher. I'm talking like 280, like one of those edge rusher D tackle kind of guys, like Keldrick Falk, like Darius Robinson from Missouri. What was that, 2 years ago? Last year, 2 years ago? Something like that. But he has fallen down the boards quite a bit. I mean, you take a look at his trends right here. Absolute tanked. He was like a consensus top 6, top 5 pick before the season, and now he's mid to late first round, which got him at 21. 22 here to the Texans. There's one thing the Texans need to do. They need to go out and protect their quarterback. Maybe running back in the play. I don't think there's a running back in this first that will go in the first round. Jonah Coleman would be a nice second round pick. Jadarian Price too. Like there's some good guys, just not first round guys. So they're gonna go with Vega Ioane. I talked about him in the last one. You don't see very many true guards, be projected first rounders. You saw Donovan Jackson and Tyler Booker last year, which they were both very good. He has a very high floor. He's going to be a very good start now kind of guy. We'll see how he can develop, but Ioane can slot himself into the guard position for the Texans, and that team's really good. The Texans have got a dangerous team. I mean, Stroud's starting to figure out things again. That offense, if they're clicking, that's a Super Bowl contender because that defense is so hard to play against. That is an unstoppable defense. It's such a good defense. I love watching them play. When your only concern on the team is your offensive line, you go solve that. And Vega Ioane does exactly that. So 23 here to the Cowboys. We're going to go with their second biggest need. It is linebacker. C.J. Allen will be my pick here. I haven't seen as many people as me, at least, putting C.J. Allen out there as a first-round pick. Watching C.J. Allen play, sorry, I'm reading my notes on him. Watching C.J. Allen play, or watching his film at least, I've enjoyed watching it. I think he's a great player. I think he's got a lot of good range. I think he's going to be a field general on defense. And the Cowboys need something like that. Their linebackers are, I don't like them at all. I don't think Cowboys fans really like their linebackers at all. So a guy like C.J. Allen, maybe an Anthony Hill Jr. would be a good pick here. Guys that can give you range at that off-ball position. So 24 here to the Bills. We're going to go and maybe a little bit of not really a reach, but Romello Height from Texas Tech. I love both of the edge rushers from Texas Tech. Obviously, David Bailey a lot more. I think he's a lot more of an athlete than Romello Height. I think the Bills, they need some youth in that edge rushing room. Bosa's getting older and older. You don't know how much longer he'll be able to play at the level, I guess you could say he is. So Romello Height is a good pick there. I could see them maybe going C.J. Allen if he falls to them at 24, but Romello Height it is. Now, we're going to go Caden McDonald here to the Chicago Bears, and my thing with Caden McDonald is he can erase plays very well. He is going to control linemen that engage with him. And I like him a little bit more than Caleb Banks for a team like Chicago. I had Banks to Chicago last time. I just like that he's able to be more physical. Banks, I think, is a better pass rusher than a run stuffer. And I think a team like the Bears could really benefit using a run stuffer defensive tackle in the first round like Caden McDonald. So, great team in Chicago. Don't get me wrong. That is such a great team there. They've done an excellent job. Ben Johnson, hats off to him. Good, better, best, But now we'll go 26 here to the Chargers. Now, this might be also a little bit of a reach here. I think he is going to be a first-round pick, but I'm going to go Jennings Dunker here to the Chargers. I think your offensive line needs help, and Jennings Dunker is a guy that is going to move inside. I think he is probably going to be scouted as a guard. He plays tackle. He's going to be scouted as a guard. Dunker has that nastiness to him. He just has that nastiness to him. He has a football IQ to him. He is a great a great offensive lineman, and you keep Herbert protected by getting a guy like that. He's almost like obviously not to the caliber of this player, but he's like a Will Campbell. His mentality and his pre-snap IQ is like Will Campbell's, in a way. And you want people like that protecting your quarterback. So Jennings Dunker is a great pick here for Los Angeles. Now for the Niners at 27, this is a great pick for San Francisco. Still, I think I did it in the last one. Caden Proctor will go to the Niners here. They need their long-term replacement for Trent Williams because Williams is just getting older and older. He's going to retire within the next couple of years. Caden Proctor is an absolute monster of a player. He's an absolute rare breed. I mean, he's like 370 pounds, and he is, or something like that. He's huge, dude. Yeah, 366. Like, he is a giant, and he's got quick feet for being that size. And so when that's on the board and that's available, you take that. You let him learn from one of the best tackles we've seen in recent history, and that'll make him an absolute stud, He does kind of hold at times, but once again, he's going to learn from Trent Williams. So, now, number 28 here to Cleveland. They're going to go and get their protection for Sanders or whoever their quarterback is. Caleb Lomu, might be a little bit of a, I guess you could say a reach. I still think he'll be a first-round pick. But I love his athleticism. I love his raw numbers. I think that's something that the NFL has looked more into when it comes to tackles is how good of an athlete is my tackle at his size. If he can move around and stuff, I can be able to use him a little bit differently and use him some separate ways. So I think that's what I see in Caleb Lomu, and that's why I think Cleveland will pick him here at 28. Now at 29 to the Patriots, I think they're going to go edge rusher. And the edge rusher I've been seeing a lot of people start mocking up in the first, and I also will mock in the first. It's going to be Mateo Uiagalelei. Sorry, I butchered that. Uiagalelei. Close enough, right? I keep practicing it. Uiagalelei. And it's just a tongue twister. But he's been really good at Oregon. He's been fun to watch, fun to develop. I think a team like New England could use a guy like him. I think you'll see him shoot up in the draft boards a little bit. He kind of had a little bit of a spike here, but he's kind of flattened out. I think he's a late first-round guy for a team like New England. I think he would be a great Vrabel guy. So that's why I've got him going over. I think it was our Mason Thomas that I picked for them last time, but we're going to go with Mateo. Now 30 to the Seahawks. I went with corner, and I'm still going to go with corner, but I went with A.J. Harris. Now I'm going to go with Colton Hood, and the reason I'm going with Colton Hood is I like the way he's pure coverage. You already have such good run support players at Seattle. You go get yourself a better coverage-focused guy in the secondary in Colton Hood. That just makes your corner room in your secondary, it just rounds it out. And I think Seattle's got arguably the best defense. I think they're number 2, right behind Houston. And you look at their their secondary. You got Emin Wari, who's a great box safety, great run support. He's a freak athlete. Devin Witherspoon, great run support corner, can also keep up. Freak athlete. And then Reek Woolen, freak athlete. You've got so many good athletes. You add Colton Hood, who has almost a refined skill in coverage. That makes that team so scary, man. But now the Rams at 31. I'm gonna switch it up. We're gonna go Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson finds his way into the end of the first. I think the Rams go, we can get this 5th-year option on this guy in case he's been really good. We can add that option to it. Ty Simpson learns behind Stafford. Ty Simpson, I think, has some of the best NFL now tools in his repertoire, in his arsenal. He's got good pre-snap reads. His consistency, I said, had been really good. It has obviously kind of fallen off a little bit, I guess you could say, in the last couple of games. But having a guy like that under Matthew Stafford could really transform Ty Simpson into a great NFL quarterback. And so I think the Rams will go with him at 31. And to round off my first round, I think the Broncos get really happy here. Kenyon Sadiq just falls right into their lap. We talked about him a little bit last time. He's going to be an absolute mismatch of a tight end for linebackers, and maybe even some safeties. So he'll be fun to watch in Denver with Bo Nix. But that's going to be it for this version's mock draft. We're going to have Mendoza still going number 1 to the Jets, but other players going other places, other teams in different spots. But still only one trade so far. Obviously, we'll add more trades later on once we get a little bit more kind of scoop on what's going on. But let me know what you guys think about your favorite team, about what this is in general. What do you want your favorite team to address? Who do you want your favorite team to draft? Put it down in the comment section below. And as I said, if you really enjoyed this video, if you keep coming back to my videos, I really appreciate it if you just hit the subscribe button. I hope you liked this video as well. It helped me out a ton. I appreciate the support from everybody. And we're going to have a fun college football playoff season. A lot of these players on this board here you'll be able to watch. So tune into that as well. That'll be a fun thing to really be able to kind of scout out some players. I know I'll be paying lots and lots of attention to keep on ramping up this mock draft season as we get closer to the draft cycle and closer to the end of the season. But hope everybody enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.